Thursday, 3rd March, The Gap News This Morning, podcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah. Good morning. First the headlines. EPF declares 6.1% dividend following strong performance. RON 97 up 16 cent, other fuel prices unchanged. AGC explains why Malaysia was not present at Sulu arbitration. Malaysia has enough cooking oil supplies, says Zuraida. Petronas back in the black with 48.6 billion ringgit net profit for 2021. Russian attack key Ukraine cities as invasion intensifies. Visa, MasterCard, Amex block Russian banks after sanctions. And Max Verstappen, Red Bull driver poised to sign lucrative deal, says report. And now the news in full. Despite the economic doom and gloom, the Employees Provident Fund EPF showed a strong investment performance last year. It announced a dividend rate of 6.1% for conventional savings and 5.65% for Sharia savings on Wednesday. The 2021 dividend, in fact, is higher than the 2020's rate of 5.2% for conventional and 4.9% for Sharia, and the 5.45% for conventional and 5% Sharia dividend declared in pre-pandemic 2019. It will pay out a total of 56.72 billion ringgit for 2021, with 50.45 billion ringgit for conventional savings and 6.27 billion ringgit for Sharia savings. The bad news is that 48% of EPF members now have less than 10,000 ringgit in their accounts after being allowed to withdraw from the fund to tide over the COVID-19 pandemic. The price of RON 97 will increase by 16 cent to 3 ringgit 45 cent per litre, the Finance Ministry said Wednesday. The price of RON 95 is unchanged and will continue to retail at 2 ringgit 5 cent per litre. The price of diesel too remains at 2 ringgit 15 cent a litre. The prices will be effective until March 9. The claim by heirs of the Sulu Sultanate is not commercial in nature and therefore cannot be subject to arbitration, says the Attorney General's Chambers, AGC. In explaining why there was no representative sent to the arbitration proceedings in Spain, the AGC said the 1878 agreement contains no arbitration agreement. It also said that Putrajaya does not recognize the claim. We further stressed that the identities of the heirs are doubtful and have yet to be verified, it said. The AGC said that in 2020, the Malaysian government had also filed for the recognition and enforcement of the Sabah High Court decision. The Sabah Court declared that as Malaysia had never waived its sovereign immunity, the arbitrator had no jurisdiction to resolve the matter. It held that the Sabah Court was the natural and proper forum to determine any claim in connection with the 1878 agreement, but the application had yet to be heard. Therefore, the AGC said the government of Malaysia rejected the purported final award of 62.59 billion ringgit or US $14.92 billion dated February 28, rendered by Spanish arbitrator Gonzalo Stampa. Malaysia has adequate supplies of government-subsidized cooking oil to meet local demand and help blunt the impact of food inflation on lower-income groups, according to Plantation Industries and Commodities Minister Zuraida. The rising costs in Malaysia and elsewhere is something we have expected, given the effect of the pandemic where prices ripple through economies worldwide, Zuraida said in a reply to email questions. Petronas returned to the black with a net profit of 48.6 billion ringgit for the financial year ended December 31, 2021, compared with a net loss of 21 billion ringgit a year earlier. The national oil company said the higher earnings recorded for the year was due to better earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization, and low impairment losses in FY 2021, following an uptrend in oil prices, but partially offset by higher taxation. Petronas recorded a revenue of 248 billion ringgit for FY 2021 against 178.74 billion a year earlier, mainly due to favorable prices for major products in line with higher average realized prices. Russia intensifies its attacks on key Ukrainian cities, with fighting raging for a 7th day in the north, east and south. Russian paratroopers have landed in Kharkiv in the northeast, Ukraine says, with heavy fighting reported. In the south, Russia says it has taken control of the port of Kherson, but its mayor says it's still being held by Ukrainian forces. A 40-mile-long convoy of Russian armored vehicles is about 15 miles north of the capital, Kiev. Meanwhile, the US says it will ban Russian airlines from its airspace, following the lead of the European Union and Canada. Major companies such as Apple, Google, Ford, and ExxonMobil have taken steps against Russia over the invasion. Stock market trading on the Moscow exchange is suspended for a third day, says Russia's central bank. The key Ukrainian port city of Mariupol was near to humanitarian catastrophe on Wednesday, after more than 15 hours of continuous bombardment by Russian forces, the city's deputy mayor told the BBC. The Russian army is working through all the weapons here: artillery, multiple rocket launch systems, airplanes, tactical rockets. They are trying to destroy the city, Sergei Orlov said. Mr. Orlov said Russian forces were several kilometers from the city on all sides and had launched strikes on key infrastructure, cutting water and power supplies to parts of the city. One densely populated residential district on the city's left bank had been nearly totally destroyed, he said. United States credit card giants Visa, MasterCard, and American Express say they are blocking Russian banks from their payment networks, following international sanctions in response to Moscow's invasion to Ukraine. As a result of sanction orders, we have blocked multiple financial institutions from the MasterCard payment network, MasterCard Chief Executive Michael Mibach said in a statement released Monday night. We will continue to work with regulators in the days ahead to fully abide by our compliance obligations as they evolve. Visa said on its website that it is taking prompt action to ensure compliance with applicable sanctions and is prepared to comply with additional sanctions that may be implemented. While American Express said its business in Russia was small, it stressed that since the beginning of this crisis, we have been complying with U.S. and international sanctions. And now for some sports news. Max Verstappen is poised to sign a lucrative new deal to keep him at Red Bull for the next few years, according to Netherlands newspaper De Telegraaf. The world champion's existing deal with Red Bull expires in 2023, and the newspaper says the new one would extend it by an additional 4 or 5 years. The deal for the Dutchman is said to be worth 40 to 50 million euros a year. Verstappen's father Jos directed BBC Sport to Red Bull for a response to the story, but the team refused to comment. To end the bulletin, here are the headlines again. EPF declares 6.1% dividend following strong performance. RON 97 up 16 cents, other fuel prices unchanged. AGC explains why Malaysia was not present at Sulu arbitration. Malaysia has enough cooking oil supplies, says Zuraida. Petronas back in the black with 48.6 billion ringgit net profit for 2021. Russia attacked key Ukraine cities as invasion intensifies. Visa, MasterCard, Amex block Russian banks after sanctions. And Max Verstappen, Red Bull driver poised to sign lucrative deal, says report. This has been the Gap News this morning, Thursday, 3rd March, with reports from Free Malaysia Today, The Vibes and the BBC World Service. The Gap News is also available on the internet news portal Melaka Hari Ini. We hope you found the bulletin informative. We certainly welcome hearing from you. If you do have the opportunity, please do write in. We would certainly love to hear from you. Podcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah.